welcome to Work the Left Side. We are here. This is not WCW 2000 anymore. Thanks to Netflix, we've had to throw that out. So we are now royally rumbled. Gentlemen, how are we?
Sad that we're not going to get to finish the incredible time that was the early noughties of WCW. But also incredibly made up that we've decided to do this show instead.
Yeah, it was a shame. It was a shame that we've had to stop in our tracks. But like you say, over the next couple of months or whatever, they might bring it all back and we can come back to it. But yeah, I'm stoked to do this one.
Exactly. Obviously, I think going forward, more things will pop up. But for now, yes, as you sort of said, every silver lining. As awesome as it would be to continue talking about WCW 2000 and the awesomeness of Crowbar and Daphne and, Norman Smiley. Instead, we're looking at...
Nick, I'm sorry, can we just take a moment to acknowledge the fact that we actually had some interaction with Crowbar on social media this week?
Yep.
We the man, the myth, the absolute legend that is Crowbar tweeted us all back and followed yours truly on Twitter. Oh yeah, me and Crowbar, we're pretty much best mates now. We're pretty much best mates. I mean, the next step is obviously Crowbar needs to come on the show.
Of course.
Obviously.
Get
Work the Left Side interview with Crowbar, but me and Bobby have to also be on that show because why? Obviously.
Exactly. I agree. I think that would work. Next step after that would be getting them on an Infamous show.
Mate, can you imagine? Crowbar? Crowbar versus Isaac North.
Oh.
I'd watch that.
We'd all watch that, Bobby.
Crowbar versus Ian Skinner.
Oh, Crowbar versus Aiton Steen.
Ooh.
It's fantasy booking now. You're gonna get caught in a.
Crowbar versus Big fucking Joe.
That would be pretty sick. That would be pretty good. I'd love to see that.
Oh yeah. Right. Anyway, as much as we love Crowbar, he's not in any of these Royal Rumbles. Not a single one.
Just one. I think I watched one the other day and freaking Cap Miller turned up and I was like, no, I've got Cap Miller but not Crowbar. What are you doing, man? But yes, so we are obviously starting with the first official Rumble, be it only 20 men, but from 1988. But before we get into that, we decided to make a list. I think it was Bobby's idea. We kind of put all our thoughts from memories of Rumbles gone by, answered some questions, and then we're going to look back at them over the course of the series to see if our opinions have changed once our memories have been refreshed.
Yeah. So when we were talking about doing this, I thought it would be a good idea to throw out some categories and to put our gut reaction as what we think is the answers personally before we did this show. And then what we can do is we can revisit the answers when we get to that match and just see if we still feel the same way. And there's 37 years of Rumbles, so it might take us a while to get to the end. So maybe we can revisit it every quarter or maybe or halfway through and see how we're getting on. Are you trying to poke me in the face or something there, Kenny?
Sorry, I have just realised that my because I'm obviously recording on my phone like a simpleton. My list is also on my phone, so I'm trying. I've got
it. I've got the list. I've got them all. Yeah, don't worry. Found it in the group chat.
Send it to my wife though, so I can use it off a different device as well.
It's okay. What I'll do is I'll go through the categories and I'll read out our individual answers. We won't take long. So we've got the categories are knee-jerk reaction when I ask the guys.
Yep.
Best Rumble, worst, overrated Rumble, underrated Rumble, the best finish to a Rumble, the best elimination, and the best spot/angle in a Royal Rumble. So, Mr. DJ King, your answers are, you've said that the best Rumble is 2000.
I'm by that. I stand by that. I honestly do.
Bold.
One of the strongest rumbles ever.
Bold. Worst Rumble 2015. You're not going to get much argument out of most people. Overrated Rumble 2001. I'm interested to know. I need to know. Underrated Rumble 2018. That's Shinsuke Nakamura. Okay. The best finish to a Rumble, you've put Taker versus Shawn in 2007. Best elimination, you edited this.
Yes, I did, because I made a schoolboy error on the Rumble.
Please tell us what you originally said.
I originally said Taka Michinoku in 2000, and now everyone will go, "Oh, that was incredible! That was incredible!" But then some people will do what these two absolute bastards did to me, and go, "He wasn't in the Rumble. He came out to cause trouble and got launched out."
Brilliant. Right. So what have you changed it to?
I'm split.
Oh, you've got to pick one now.
I know, but I'm split, right? Because Santino's in and out. I wasn't ready. Fantastic moment. Fantastic comedy moments in wrestling. But also Shawn hanging on for dear life, and Batista knocking his fingers, and Shawn falling like he's falling off Nakatomi Plaza. Also an amazing ending. So
right, clear your mind. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Santino.
Bam, that's it. Can't change it. And then the best spot or angle in a Rumble, you've put the 3 faces of Foley in 98. Lovely stuff. So we'll come back to those. Nicholas, my dear Nicholas, you have put, see, this is why you said it before, the best Rumble 2001. The Rumble that DJ King has said is the most overrated Rumble. Worst Rumble 95, which again is up there. Overrated Rumble, you've put 97. Do people rate that Rumble? I mean, it had Austin and Bret, and
Austin won but didn't win.
Yeah. Do people really rate that Rumble?
I can see why you'd say if people,
maybe.
I can see why you'd say it was overrated, but I've never heard people like rave about that Rumble.
I think I have, actually. I think people say it's a really good Rumble for the time. Like, I think they've had so many bad ones for a few years before that it's actually a decent one. Maybe the last 5 minutes are really good, and then I don't know. We'll find out. Overrated Rumble 97, underrated Rumble 93, with Yokozuna winning the Rumble. Interesting. Really bad time for them at that point. So I'll be interested in that one. Best ending, you've got HBK and Taker as well. Best finish, and best elimination, Maven eliminates The Undertaker. It's a brilliant shout. That's a really good shout.
Great
and
shout that it came of it.
No, was that 2001 or 2? 2. Yeah, because your best spot in a Rumble is in the same match. It's Triple H and Austin being chokeslammed by the Hurricane. Very good. Okay, and then me. Best Rumble 92. Flair. Worst Rumble 2015. I think it's not even who's in it. It's just what it is. Yeah, as what it is as a whole. Yeah. Overrated Rumble, I've put 2002. People rave about that Rumble a lot, and I don't remember anything apart from Triple H winning it.
Yeah, I don't remember anything other than Triple H winning that Rumble. There's nothing stands out in that show to me.
But loads of people say it's dead good. Well, yeah, obviously you got the spots, but those 2 spots that you said, but I don't remember anything else. Underrated Rumble. Now, I put 1990. But I think it might be because Tony Schiavone calls that match, and it does have the build to Warrior and Hogan though, and that spot where it's like episode 3, so it won't be long. So I'll talk about it in more depth then. But like it won't. It's there's a spot where it's just them 2, and the place is going mental, and it's brilliant. Anyway, best finish again. We're all in agreement actually. 3 for 3. Taker and Shawn.
don't think any of us will be changing our opinions on that one as the show goes by either. I think it's universally known that that is the greatest finish to a Royal Rumble.
I mean, Cody and Gunther had it 2 years ago, and I thought that was good. It was good. Yeah, it was good. Similar,
it
but
wasn't short. Yeah.
Best elimination, I've gone with Shawn in 2010, like you were debating. And the best spot angle in a Rumble, I've put Ric Flair's entire performance in 92, just as a whole, just the way that he was. So yeah, that was it. That was I thought we'd throw that out there and
one more.
Yeah, go
on. One more. Best commentary team in a Rumble.
Oh, it's Bobby Heenan, Gorilla in 92. Bobby Heenan should have won an Academy Award for that.
Heenan was incredible in 92, possibly the best he ever commentated. The desperation in his voice near the end of that whole. Every time someone comes out and touches Flair, oh my God, he's incredible. Bobby Heenan's probably the greatest heel commentator of all time, though. So
it's not fair to Flair. It's not fair to Flair.
I mean, we'll get there. We'll probably that'll probably be our longest episode, if I'm honest, because you know how I like to get on. I've already been speaking for almost 10 minutes.
To Flair, but we're going to be incredibly fair to Flair is what we'll be about that fucking match.
So I think in the first 10 episodes, it gets us to almost the end of the 90s. So I think we could come back on some of those answers and just see, or we can discuss it when it's happening. So when 1990 rolls around, we can find out if I still think it's all right when 93 comes around, and so on and so on.
Yeah. So, right, we've done our predictions. I think before we start, we do need to talk about the fact of why as a group we all immediately said, let's do a show about the Rumble.
Nick, take it away.
Yeah, well, because it was two ideas. Bobby pitched the invasion. I was for that. But then, obviously the Rumble came up and it's like, okay, we'll put the invasion to one side. That would have been a nice little short series.
The Rumble came up because it was the day that all the WWE content dropped on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I just put the Rumble on. I was like, right, I'm watching a fucking Rumble. If I can't watch anything else, I'm going to watch a Royal Rumble. And then we were talking about, should we do the invasion? Should we do this? And then I just put, let's do the fucking Rumble.
The first thing I did was watch Rumble 2000. That was the first thing I did that morning, just because I could.
First thing I did was watch, Rumble 94.
I don't have Netflix, so this is going to be a problem.
Sorry, Rumble 95, the one where Michaels won, but not from the beginning.
One.
The shit one. That's the first one I watched. I don't know why. I just randomly picked it and watched it, because I remember thinking, I'm watching Goldust versus Razor Ramon on Netflix. This is wild.
It's awesome. But like you sort of said, this all kind of came about because who doesn't love a Rumble? I don't care, any wrestling fan, if you don't like WWE, you will still watch the Rumble. It is so universally adored and it's exciting. When it's done right, it's better than Mania. It's just the highlight of the wrestling year kind of thing.
I'm going to give a shout out to Pat Patterson. We wouldn't have the Rumble if it wasn't for Pat Patterson. Came up with the idea. Let's take a battle royal and make it 10 times longer. Boom. Money.
Well, apparently Vince McMahon, they did I know we're not that kind of show, but they did a house show test run of the Rumble before this in 1987, which was won by One Man Gang. So One Man Gang was supposed to challenge Hogan the next time they were in the town, like in a couple of weeks, and the ring announcer spoilt the ending of the match. So it was never actually released. I'm sure WWE Vault, which is an incredible YouTube channel, might release it one day. But yeah, and then
site watches this show.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But yeah, apparently because this Royal Rumble wasn't on pay-per-view, it was on TV.
Yeah,
and they needed a concept to get people to watch, because I think it clashed with something that Crockett was doing, probably. I can't remember top of my head. So Vince said, let's do the Rumble idea, and there we go. There we are.
And it wouldn't surprise me as well, because I remember at the time it was illegal in WCW to throw somebody over the top rope. You got disqualified if you threw somebody over the top rope. So it's very much like, if those guys aren't doing it, we'll do it and we'll make money out of it.
That's a fantastic point, actually. I never even thought of that.
One thing I do want to talk about is, obviously, this being the first Rumble, the rules are quite blurred. Yeah. You've got Vince and Jesse on commentary. Jesse, incredible. I just want to get this out there now, because he's going to pop up a lot on this show. Vince McMahon, no matter how much you think of his character or of his person or who he is as a human being, he is by far the worst commentator in the history of commentators. He's awful. How did this man, he built an empire and for so long thought he should be the voice of it?
You know what's really funny? As an aside to this, I have watched this show, like all of it, before. And earlier in the night, there's a 2 out of 3 falls match for the women's tag titles that they had at the time. This is 1988, and he's got 2 Japanese. He's the Jumping Bomb Angels. He doesn't know their names. Like, as a commentator, it's like you can kind of get away with it in kayfabe because, I don't know who these outsiders of, who they are. But you hired these people.
I've been in positions where I've got to, as a commentator, Bobby, you probably have the same thing, right? You've got to a show, you've sat down, you looked at a run sheet, and you've gone, who the is that guy? I've never heard of this dude before in my life.
It happened literally 4 days ago.
And that's fine. But I, as a promoter, there's not going to be a wrestler who walks through my door who's wrestling in my ring, who I'm not going to know who they are.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
Let's get into it.
88. So obviously it starts off so well as well. You got Bret Hart and Tito as the first. I'm going to call him Tito, not Chico, as Ventura does the whole Rumble.
Oh, because Chico. I know we shouldn't, but I still find it hilarious whenever Jesse calls him Chico. And it's a running joke with the heel commentators, but it's also overtly racist. And I feel like we shouldn't be laughing at it, but at the same time, it was so funny at the time. And the fact that Vince no sells it. Every time he calls him Chico, he's just like, yep, that's his name.
I thought that was actually, is that not his name? No. I don't like the chances for Chico.
But yeah, so Bret Hart and Mr. Santana starting us off, which I think is awesome, because that's kind of like, it's a kind of a glimpse into the future of, where WWF will eventually end up going, like talent size, ability, technical prowess. I think these 2 guys are awesome.
There's also a nice opportunity to give these 2 dudes who at the time were tag team wrestlers, because like I say, Strikeforce were the tag champs, Heart Foundation were the former champs. It was a nice an opportunity to give these 2 dudes who would go on to both be big single stars in their own right, but give a little preview of that, like you say, a little preview of what these 2 can do without their tag team partners in the corner. And I liked it, and it was good. One thing I will say, Jesse Ventura doesn't get the rules to the Rumble properly. He thinks it's heels versus baby faces.
He does, doesn't he? I noticed this when other guys were coming out.
It's not until nearly 3/4 of the way through the match, I think it clicks to him that it's last man standing. He thinks all the heels are just going to throw everyone out and then celebrate at the end together.
I think the weird thing is about this time. So the match starts with Bret is 1 and Tito is 2, which makes no sense because they come back from a commercial and they're both in the ring. So it's like, who says that Bret is 1? Anyway, but yeah, it's weird, the WWF at this point. They're post WrestleMania 3, but they're pre WrestleMania 5, which is their peak. So it's this weird time for them where they've had their big 93,000 allegedly, but they're still, but they've not had the Mega Power story yet. So it's not at their complete creative peak, but they've gone past a really big, significant moment in the mainstream with WrestleMania 3. So you've got people like you've got Bret in this match, who's part of the Hart Foundation, but they're heels, and he doesn't have any accents on his gear, and he's with Jimmy Hart, which is really strange. And you've got Tito Santana, who's already been the Intercontinental Champion at this point. He's been a single star already. He's now a tag team wrestler with Rick Martel, who isn't a model yet. We're in Strike Force. It's just really, it's in a really weird place.
This is a transitional period for the Fed. This was literally moving away from Hogan as champ. This is what they're starting to do. This was the beginning, because this leads up, if I'm not mistaken, the next thing after this is Saturday night's main event with.
Yeah, it's the main event with Andre versus Hogan and the thing. The fake
Ale and Dave.
I think that's literally it, because then that happens, and then it's WrestleMania 4, which I'm so glad we're not doing, because it's dreadful.
Oh man, do you know what? Right? Maybe I love WrestleMania 4 just because Savage takes the strap at the end.
Yeah, maybe
that's why I love WrestleMania 4. But for me, I know, like, nowadays it's cool to be like, oh, I hate Hulk Hogan. I've never been a fan of Hulk Hogan. Like, as a kid, it didn't appeal to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because he's blonde. I don't know. But he never appealed to me. I was always more Savage than Hogan. So even like WrestleMania 5, even when like Savage had turned heel, I'm still like, nah, go on, King.
Go on, King. But yeah, so Bret and Tito, nothing to it really and so obviously we're so used to a Royal Rumble now of what we expect in any Rumble, really. What is there? There's a countdown clock, and there's a buzzer, and then music plays. Pop, pop, pop.
See, and now we're used to the music.
Well, music's not too bad. No, music isn't terrible.
I don't think at least the first 5 Rumbles.
It's a while. It's like 96, I think.
You've got a long time till you get to entrance music for the Rumble, like, so. Yeah, you're right. It's perfected now. Like you say, it's, countdown, buzzer, music. You got 3 pops, or just off that.
Well, there's a countdown clock on screen.
There is,
but there's no countdown clock in the arena, so that people can't count down. So people just come out.
Yeah, to say, well, to be honest, there's actually a couple of times where the countdown clock doesn't even show up on the screen, and a guy just comes out. And then you even have a point where they make a point of it later on when you've got Don Morocco and I think it's
Nikolai Volkov.
Yeah, they come out at the same time, then have a fight on the outside, and then Volkov stands there for 2 minutes like a dickhead. And then the buzzer goes and he just runs in. And, well, say the buzzer goes, no, the ref goes, okay, it's time now. It just goes in.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, that is a big point, because that is obviously something when you go back and you watch these earlier Rumbles. Yeah, it's so ingrained in us that we expect it. When it's not there, it's like, oh, it's like when you're watching a film and there's no background music or something. It's like, this is just really eerily silent, and we're not used to it. But
when we were discussing the prep for this show, and we were like, putting everything together for it, we were all saying like, oh, might be a lot harder watching the older ones. And there's a reason for this, because the older ones, that it is still technically, I'd say in the first 5 years, up till Flair wins it, I'd say we're really in the test. We're still in the testing phase of the Rumble.
They didn't get it right for a while.
No, they didn't get it right, and the problem with, I think one of the big problems with it is that winning the Rumble meant nothing. You had the champ in there, wrestling in the Rumble, winning the Rumble on occasions when Hogan won it, and it's like, okay, cool, but what was that for? And it wasn't until technically 93 when it was like, right, okay, you get a shot at the champ at Mania. That's when the Rumble really started to mean something.
I want to know who came up with that.
Yeah, I'd like to know that too.
I'd like to know who came up with that bit specifically, because they must have seen 92 and thought, look how much people cared about this Rumble because it had stakes. And now, who came up with that? I'm interested. I bet you. I'll try and find out for the next show.
To know, that's something we don't need to know by the next show. We need to know it by the time we get to 93.
Yeah. We'll get back to the match really, really quick then. Who do you think came up with that right at the top of your head?
Oh,
You're going Vince.
Could it just be Pat Patterson again? Just shining
You're
up
going
his.
Pat.
Yeah.
I'm going Shane.
Ooh.
This was always one of those guys who you'd come to him with an idea, and he seemed to tweak it and make it perfect for TV. That was like the whole argument with Russo, wasn't it? That Russo didn't have someone to fine-tune his ideas, and that's why he went off the rails in WCW. I think this is a Vince fine-tuning this. I think he's seen that they've done it in '92, and he's gone, yes, we could do that. And he's done it. He's just gone, right, okay, they need stakes, and they give it stakes.
Who's in the ring now? We're doing that thing again where we get sidetracked.
Right. Number three out is the natural Butch Reed.
Ooh.
Who cares?
Yeah, and then after him,
number 4 is then Anvil, right? And then they start triple teaming T.O. And they do this really weird thing where they're trying to like Butch has got him in a waistlock, and then they're trying to do something with him, and then Bret goes to the second, and they're going to do the elbow drop off the knee, and Butch just like puts his arm around Anvil and then like sticks his knee in as well. They do like a triple team version of it, and it's so awkward looking.
It's just, like you say, it's awkward. They don't know what to do. It's like you've got this random body.
It really stuck with me how awkward that was. Like, triple team move. It's not a triple team move, but just fuck off over there, will you? Go with the crowd or something. Nope, I'm in this now. Have my knee.
He's invested. What I will say though about this, like you said earlier about, it was going to be hard work kind of watching these early ones, but I didn't take into account how excited the audience were, and that kind of gets me going. I love the old school stuff. I love the kayfabe. I love that they care about everything. Just the littlest thing pops the crowd, and it pops me because it pops them. I'm just like, yes.
Nick, that's perfect you say that, because the next entrant was the biggest pop. Obviously, we've heard so far, possibly the biggest pop in the Rumble. I don't know.
I'd say it was.
Jake Roberts comes out at 5, and the crowd fucking lose it. He also then makes history, because Jake Roberts is the first person to eliminate someone from a Royal Rumble.
Yes, he does. He comes in and cleans house.
Butch Reed's the first guy to ever be eliminated from a Royal Rumble.
I made a big note of this. As soon as Jake came out, everyone lost their shit, and we're in Canada as well, which always turns it up a bit. Turns up the volume. But he's come in and he's done the first real spot of the Rumble, if you like, where he's come in and he's kind of cleared house a little bit. Because one theme I think we'll get in the first few Rumbles is not much actually happens in any of the matches, because we know, like we say, Rumbles now in any federation, whoever you want to call, it's the same philosophy. Someone new comes out, they get in the ring and they do a few bumps, do a few moves, and then settle down for the next person. Whereas in these earlier ones, it's just come in, punch kick, try and like that. But no, Jake's come in and he's gone, nah, I'm gonna throw something out, brother.
But can I just say as well, I know everybody goes on about Scott Hall's punches, rightly so. They were awesome. But how good are Jake's jabs?
It's so good.
Jake walked, so Scott Hall, Road Dogg, myself could throw better jabs. They really, honestly, right? Anyone starting out wrestling, if you want to know how you're going to throw punches, just go watch some Jake Roberts. Go watch Jake Roberts throw those snap jabs, because they're perfect. He's absolutely perfect when it goes, like, when he ends up doing it like that. It really is. And again, this is something I wanted to mention when it came to Jake. The DDT. He doesn't hit it in this match.
He doesn't, actually. He
doesn't hit it in this match, but the crowd begged for it so many times. It is the first occasion, like the cutter, like the diamond cutter in the RKO. It's the first occasion of a move being as over, if not more over, than the guy who does it. The fans just wanted the DDT all the way through that match, and he teased it. So it was perfect, because it's so many times he teased it. every time he stuck on a front face lock, the crowd came up and then boom, snatched it away. The heel would grab the rope, or the heel would duck out, or even Danny Davis. He put Danny Davis in a front face lock, and Danny Davis looked like he shit his pants and dived for the bottom rope. Perfect bit of selling, and it got that move over without even having to hit the move. It'd be like if Orton came into the Rumble, and every time he grabbed someone, he'd be like, "No, fuck off, no." And see, I think that's a spot you could do in this day and age. And
yeah, definitely, 100%.
Orton doesn't need to come in and hit that RKO on everyone in the Rumble. He needs to come in now and start trying it, and everyone be like, "Nah, fuck off, mate. We've seen your matches, dickhead."
And then we have the thing is as well. We have the high of Jake Roberts coming out and getting the fans up to the next entrant, which is the oldest man alive, Harley Race.
No, not Harley Race. At no point whatsoever is he referred to as Harley Race in this match.
The king.
This will not be the only time this happens tonight, by the way, where a wrestler doesn't get his fucking name. But Harley Race is referred to as the king all the way through, the entire time. Vince does not call him.
That is 100%. 100%. He does that on purpose.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want people to know that this is Harley Race, eight-time world champion, NWA world champion. He doesn't want them to know.
To see the king.
Yeah.
It's his creation that he's used Harley Race for. That's all he wants them to see.
Didn't even think of that until you just said it.
Does it again later with Don Morocco?
The Rock.
Calls Don Morocco the Rock throughout the whole match.
Yeah, I've heard that before though. They did that for a while.
The Rock was not a new idea when Dwayne Johnson turned up. Right, who was next then?
Number 7, Jumping Jim Brunzell of the Killer Bees.
I like how
murder's row of talent coming out now.
Well, see, the one thing about Jim Brunzell, they mentioned him earlier on because we were talking about whether or not who was going to be a babyface who came out next or a heel, and they were like, it could be Jim Brunzell. He's friends with Chico, and it was like, again, it was the body just not really knowing the rules and just be like, these guys need their friends.
Yeah, so 7 we had Jim Brunzell, 8 we had Sam Houston, who is Jake Roberts' half brother. Did you know that?
He took the best bump in the whole Rumble as well.
Remind me.
Was it him? Is that Houston? Or did he do it? No, sorry, I think Houston delivered it. You had the dude with the red bandana on.
Yeah, that's
on his shoulders. What?
Yes, I did remember that. Yeah,
over the top.
I remember, I've seen Sam Houston before. He was on one of the Survivor. I think he might have been on the Survivor Series before this. Fine. Yes, he seems fine. Just a mid card guy. This is good hand. You know, whatever. And then we had Sam Houston.
I like that.
Yeah, number 9, Danny Davis.
Because.
Go on, Bobby.
Danny Davis.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying number 9, Danny Davis. Go for it.
Danny Davis. It was the year before, it was WrestleMania 3. He was in the 6-man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coco and the Bulldogs. I genuinely thought Danny Davis had that 6-man tag and was just went back to being a referee or something. I didn't realize his gimmick was going to carry on, and then he carried on being a wrestler. So it was interesting to me to see Danny Davis. Also, has he got padding in that top part of the suit?
Definitely.
He looks like a kid superhero. He looks like one of those kids' superhero outfits.
He looks legit like the most jacked fucking dude on the roster.
I'm pretty certain that he does. You are right. He does go back to being a ref after this.
I definitely remember him reffing again after that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But there's a guy, the person who used to run OVW. Is that him? It is Danny Davis, isn't it? Trained John Cena and all that. Yeah, the look on your face, Nick, tells me you didn't know that. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Probably should have done this beforehand. I need to know this now. I'm pretty sure it was him. Because it's either him or someone who's got a very similar name.
Right. What I'll say then,
Situation.
Bobby, while you're doing that, Mr. King, I have got a sidebar challenge for you on future Rumbles.
Go on.
Spotting younger referees, spotting people at Rumbles that then go on to become more well known.
Okay, I've got one because I've already started watching ahead, right? There is a moment where Taker gets eliminated, and all the refs are trying to back him off, and one very young referee in particular gets right in his face, and I'm like, hell in a cell in 20 years' time for you two boys.
Yep. That's it.
Wait, who's that?
Shane,
Shane. Yeah, Shane. I found out, by the way, it's not that Danny Davis, but the guy who ran OVW was called Nightmare Danny Davis. He's got the same name. Bullshit.
For all these years, like my entire life, I have genuinely believed that Danny Davis, the referee, was the Danny Davis who ran OVW. My mind is fucking blown.
They're like the same age as well, and they've got the same ring name.
Bollocks. They're the same person. Someone's lying.
Anyway, and then to be honest with you lads, at this point I kind of zoned out a bit. I'm just being honest. I looked up after
through this one. I'm not gonna lie.
After about 5 minutes, I looked up and I thought, oh no, there's loads of people in this now. The Bolsheviks are both in there. Don Morocco's in there, and Duggan is in. So I think I got to them.
Oh, that's well towards the end.
Oh, sorry, The Rock.
Duggan was in at like 17 or something, doesn't he?
13. He's in at 13.
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, Duggan comes in as the King, doing one actually, and Harley shoves him in the entranceway, and Duggan just stops his entrance, turned around, and goes after him. And then when he realises that Harley's not stopped to fight him, he stops again, turns around, and goes back to the ring.
Right. So before that, obviously
he was just like that.
So Harley's gone at this point, so we need to rewind.
Sorry, that's my fault.
That's all right. That I sent you earlier of, as you said, the 8-time world champion just weebling on the road.
At this point, he's just having fun. He's literally hanging on the top rope, sat on the middle, and every time Jake punches, he
was just in there to amuse himself, really. Brilliant. It's a brilliant spot.
And then race in a match like that, it's not a fucking big test for him, is it?
No. I just wanted to say, like, I'm reading the list. I mean, I know that the Hart Foundation they're not even the top of the tag division at this point. It's a very undercard Rumble, which is probably what it was designed for at the time. But you look at some of the names. You've got Jim Brunzell, Sam Houston, Danny Davis, Butch Reed, the Bolsheviks, Duggan. Who cares? But I guess these early Rumbles had a lot of people in it that we're not bothered about.
Yeah, I will say, after watching this all the way through, we should probably save this bit for the end, but I'm going to say it now anyway. Definitely the wrong person won.
Yeah.
I love Duggan, I do. But Jake was the most over person in that match.
Like, we'll talk about it at the end, because I've got thoughts about this as well.
Okay, all right.
I've definitely got thoughts about this, because it's your first ever, but also they didn't know how popular it would be. So, go on. Yeah, sorry.
All right. I just want to say, if this was 2001, Duggan would have gone in with that 2x4 and just cleared house and just whacked everybody with it.
I don't know why he didn't.
I don't.
Like, they mentioned it. Vince and Jesse mentioned it on commentary that he's got a 2x4, and like they were questioning whether he could use it or not. And it was like, yes, you can use it. The only way to lose is to be thrown out.
Yes, he says, what's he going to do? Go in and clobber everyone with that 2x4?
Yes.
And then just puts the 2x4 down and gets in the ring. It's like, missed opportunity.
This is one thing about Rumbles I've never understood. It's no DQ. Get a weapon, batter the shit out of everyone, and throw them out.
2001? When Raven brings out the fucking trash can and takes it for a hardcore match.
It's like the fucking first one to do it.
Yeah, it's mad that it took that long, especially when you were literally already on the arse end of the Attitude Era at that point.
Although I think Finlay got disqualified for using the shillelagh in like 2006, 2007 or something. So it's really off backward.
Bullshit. But we don't talk about 2006. It was a terrible time for wrestling in general.
It was just whatever was convenient for the story at that point.
Exactly.
And they never brought it up again. Never brought it up before that. Let's get through some of these people because Jesus Christ.
It's a real roster of who cares.
Yeah, so I was in the timeline. I'm on 14. Ron Bass. Who the fuck is that? I'd like to think of myself as quite a decent historian.
If this was 1993, Ron Bass would have come out in full fishing gear. and his job would have been professional fisherman.
He'd have teamed up with Jeff Jarrett and been Ron Bass.
Oh my God. How did Jarrett not have a full band? Like, he had a full band, but his band should have been made up of wrestlers.
That would have been amazing.
Like, the whole fucking faction comes out and plays With My Baby Tonight and then fill people in afterwards because he didn't like the song. Beautiful.
Jeff Jarrett and the F Street Band.
Oh.
You can take that like...
It's for Slapnut.
Fuck's sake. Jeff Jarrett and the Slapnuts.
Guarantee you that was pitched. Someone has pitched that already.
Oh, man. Oh, Tony Khan, it's over to you.
Oh, mate, Russo's there now. I swear to God, I pushed this in 96.
I swear to God,
you're
going to have a full-on ban, bro. Wait, we're not even doing a Vince Russo show and we've got caught up in it. I think Nick's lost the will.
Good. Yes,
number 15, the other killer bee. B. Brian Blair.
Triple B.
Triple B.
Triple who gives a fuck.
I'll tell you what, though. The next guy who comes in, number 16, Hillbilly Jim, fucking jacked.
See, again, another guy who, for me, would have been a much better pick than Duggan, so one.
Yeah, I can see that.
Fucking being dude in overalls, knocking shit out of everyone, mate. Sign me up.
So the last, not that I'm trying to skip ahead or anything, but the last, so Hillbilly Jim, 16, Dino Bravo, 17, fucking jacked. Baby Warrior, number 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 19 is One Man Gang and 20 is Junkyard Dog. So everyone's in now.
Yeah.
Right. But what I was saying earlier on about WrestleMania 3, post Mania 3 and pre Mania 5. The reason why I'm bringing this up again is because you've got brown haired Dino Bravo, I think, and you've got Baby Warrior, who's not quite got his tassels, not quite got his face paint. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the lads haven't decided on what the Hasbro figure is going to be yet. So because Duggan's wearing black, Duggan's got black trunks. It's one of them. The Hearts, they've not got like detail on their tights. It's just, and Jake looks a bit off. It's just in that weird period of time again where they've not quite settled on a look. Because if you remember, guys, from back in that time, that's what they wore.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not quite there yet. So it's a little bit...
There was no different gear. Well, there was no different gear every week. You had your gear and you wore it because that's what your fucking action figure looked like, and you were supposed to.
Exactly. And it's like this whole aesthetic of this show was very house show. It was. But it was also very 86, 85. It seemed dated even in 1988, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like you said, it was a test run, wasn't it? They didn't throw a lot of money at it. They just wanted to see if the gimmick got over. gimmick gets over, right, we'll start putting some money into it.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Nothing at that event makes you go Royal Rumble. There's no signage. There's nothing. It's not till. Is it the next? Is it?
It's the next one on pay-per-view. Yeah.
Yeah, the next one we get the logo, we get the fucking signs and everything for it. It actually looks like an event that they put money into. Again, we've said this since the beginning of the show. This one was a test to see if it would get over, and it got over like fucking Rover. People will never not love a Battle Royal because a Battle Royal is just bedlam, and wrestling fans love bedlam, always have.
I worked a Rumble this past weekend at Rise, and I'm working a Rumble this weekend at True Grit. So it's like it's like being the announcer for a Rumble is chaos. I don't know how it is people watching it.
No, you were just the announcer at Rise, though. You were. Sorry, I just want to sidebar here for a second. You were in the Rumble, Bobby.
Yes, I was in the Rumble. Yes.
I thought you stuttering people, man.
Yeah, we've seen you stuttering people, Bobby.
Yeah.
Just one person. That's all it needs.
Putting poor wrestlers on their asses.
Best stunner in the game.
And you're in there stealing money from their pockets, giving them stunners.
Yeah, mate.
Tell you what, Bob, you'd never catch me getting off the commentary desk and going into a fucking Rumble ever.
Did you not know that I'm really fucking over? Did you not know that?
Mate, you're like the acting on every roster. I've seen it. Seen it with my eyes.
No, it was fun. But I do wonder as well. I mean, because obviously I was backstage on Saturday night, and they'd got all the Rumble participants just in the room and just said, "Okay, number 1 is this, who gets eliminated by this person, and then number 2, and then number 3." I'm like, I do wonder if they in the WWF in like 1988, 89, you've got like Duggan and Junkyard Dog and that just sat in a room being told what they're doing. Or do they call the Rumble on the fly like they did other matches, but they just knew who was winning?
See, maybe the early ones, yeah, but maybe up to about 90, 91, I'd say they were definitely, at that point, it was a case of you're coming out with this number, this is the guy who's going to eliminate you, and you're going to go at this point. I think a Rumble, as someone who's booked his fair share of Rumbles, sorry, a little peek behind the curtain now, guys, but a Rumble can be one of the most intricate fucking matches you've got to put together because, again, you're calling the shots for however many guys you've got in your Rumble.
Yeah.
I think, and again, as a former wrestler, I've worked shows where I've turned up and I'm like, right, you're in a Rumble. Okay, cool. Right, what's the plan? You come out at this time, you'll be eliminated by this guy. Other than that, fucking do your thing. And I'd probably say that up until about, I'd probably say the mid-90s, late 90s, that was probably what the call was. Here's your number. Here's the guy who's eliminating you. Do your thing until it's time to go. Because as you said, Bob, a lot of guys will go in and just start throwing fucking digs.
Yeah, there was no spots. I feel like it'd be a lot more intricate now. It's a lot more intricate now than it was. Yeah.
So I think it was probably more like that back in the day. It was like, yeah, there's your number. You gotta right, and here's who's getting rid of you. When that guy shows up, that's when you know it's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to the match. They're all in at this point. They've all come out. So it's just time to get rid of people now. I don't remember what the order was.
This is it. Everyone just gets launched out. We get to, is it? I'm 99% sure it's Gang and Hacksaw.
Dino.
Are the last two.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dino, One Man Gang, and Hacksaw are the last three. It's Dino and One Man Gang teaming up on Hacksaw.
Yeah. I remember that because they did book the end of this match really well. They had the two heels versus the one face, which is in my opinion that is the way that a Rumble should finish, unless you're doing face versus face, and that's fine. What I would say is, yeah, I agree with you. King, when you saying about Jake, because when Jake went out, it was because the thing is, people are getting thrown out, the people being eliminated, and it's kind of like well, they've gone. But when Jake goes, they really didn't like that.
No, exactly, mate. This is
They
what I'm
really
saying.
didn't.
Like, Hacksaw was a big baby face. Yeah, Vince clearly wanted fucking to push him more. But in that whole situation, nobody got a reaction throughout the whole match like Jake did. Jake, to me, again, he's another one of those guys. He fits into the Scott Hall, Mr. Perfect category of dude who should have been a world champion. I know, obviously, Jake had his own reasons for not being a world champion. There was obviously, there was bigger fucking issues going on in his life. But he was one of those guys who he could have made some serious money with a straight laced Jake Roberts.
100% agree with that. I think Jake was his own worst enemy.
Oh yeah.
He might have even been pitched to have won it, but he didn't want to. I reckon a lot of Jake's career, yes, demons come into play and things don't work out for him, but I feel like he's also one of these people that didn't want to have the accolades. He didn't want to. He didn't want the attention.
He needed them. Prove now, obviously he's not being fucking, excuse the pun, he's as infamous as he is famous, Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
Like, when you talk about Jake Roberts to a wrestling fan especially, they'll go, oh, Jake Roberts, he was fantastic. He has some fucking issues. And, like, that is the immediate... You're never going to be able... Jake Roberts is one of those guys that you're never going to be able to separate him from the issues, because everyone will know that his issues is what kept him to a certain level. But like you said then, Bob, I think he knew that he had that aura of where he didn't necessarily need belts. He carried a bare lap fucking sack to the ring and got a bigger reaction than 90% of the champions on that show.
I think that Jake Roberts personally, was actually quite happy with his role. He was probably fine with being upper mid-card, having a feud here and there, and then not being the burden of the world champion or being in a world championship feud. Even in being in a title feud, he wasn't really in one. And I think he was probably happy with that. It was his extracurricular activities that held him back further. Anyway, before we get sidetracked about Jake, I just want to read this transcript. Not verbatim. It's paraphrasing a bit, but it's just to big up your point at the start of this show about saying that you fucking hate Vince. Okay, so what happens is it's Duggan, it's Bravo, it's Gang, yeah? Duggan overcomes and the heels have a bit of a miscommunication. Out goes Dino Bravo, yeah? At that moment, when Duggan stands up and the crowd know what's happening, it's Duggan versus Gang, and the winner, these are the last two. Vince McMahon says, well, I don't know, Jesse, maybe he has to pull the rope down as Gang is running at him. Literally 30 seconds later, one-man Gang, bull in a china shop, revving them engines, straight at Duggan. Lo and behold, bridge, get the fuck out. Vince spoils the ending of this match a minute before it happens. I hate Vince McMahon. He did it again, he 100% did that on purpose. Please discuss.
Terrible broadcaster. Absolute worst broadcaster in the history of broadcast. Mike Adamle is better than Vince McMahon.
Wait. Madden from WCW 2000 or Vince McMahon?
Madden.
At least he's funny.
At least he knew the guys' names.
I noticed that.
Who he was talking about. I'm sorry, I don't want. I'm gonna have to say it because I can't wait to '93. I can't, right? But my God, he pisses me off so much in the '93 Rumble. Yokozuna eliminates himself about 4 fucking times in that Rumble. Oh yeah, Yokozuna now. Oh, he's eliminated. Oh, Yokozuna's eliminated. Yokozuna. What?
He doesn't commentate on that match.
Hang on, it's 94 then.
Yes, he does it with DiBiase.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
He's also bad.
There's a bit where, like, it might even be 95 actually, where he's talking about Yoko, and every time he mentions Yoko, like throwing someone out, he doesn't call them by their name, he calls them Yoko as well.
For fuck's sake. So yeah.
So another little thing I spotted in the 93 Rumble, when Yoko's dominating Savage, he looks down at the camera. And remember, he's supposed to be the Japanese sumo wrestler. Looks down at the camera and goes, "For Samoa!" And I'm like, dude.
At least try.
Like, oh, come on.
You might as well just go like that. Yeah.
So 1988. We've gone in the time machine again. So yeah, one man gang essentially eliminates himself. I mean, it would have been a lot. I think. Okay, Duggan wins. Okay, everyone knows. You should know this by now. Duggan wins. For me personally, I think Duggan is fine as a winner. He's a fine winner. People like him. You know, for a guy who's really patriotic, he's really over in Canada, which is quite funny. For me,
you've seen him turn and join Team Canada.
Yeah, true. Foreshadowing. For me, I think it would have been better if Duggan had clotheslined him out. You know, done a move to win instead of just pulling the top rope down. But I mean, they'll get there.
That's the idea 30 seconds before, and they decided to do that instead.
Oh, that sounds like a great. What do you say, Vince? Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah.
Oh fuck, I'll do that.
Yeah, sounds good. So, yeah, 1988 Rumble in the books. Jim Duggan.
Right. What I want to say though is as well, obviously another obvious something that's glaringly obvious is because it's the first one. For the first few Rumbles, the eliminations are just going to be low bridges and people lifting up over. There's no excitement. There's no variety to eliminations, really. They're all very samey because
yeah, no, I completely understand as well, because these it's not like the 90s, the 2000s, where you've got the smaller lads who you can launch out of there, push them off the top rope. These lads are going first day of wrestling training school over the top rope. They're not breaking the neck for
if someone lands on the apron and stands back up on the apron, that's considered a fucking spot up until about 91. That's the way we've got to look at this. These Rumbles, again, like we said before, the baby Rumbles, they're in the infancy. This is where guys are starting to work out what they can actually fucking get away with in these matches.
100%.
Savage doesn't even learn the rules. Dude never knows the rules. Throws himself out, gets back in. Fuck, don't give a shit.
It is very frustrating.
Can we just shout out Morocco though? Because he puts on a good performance. There's a couple of good bits where there's like 2-on-1 and they're trying to get him in the corner, and he does, like, for those days it was a huge spot. He does a forward roll between the arms.
But he's trying to get away from people.
Yeah, then drop kick. It's like, oh, okay, that was a spot. That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the Rumble match itself, I thought it was quite good actually. For not bad for a first try. It wasn't boring. It wasn't that exciting, but it wasn't boring. I wasn't bored, although my comments earlier may have been quite might discredit that. But I thought it was quite good.
This was a decent watch while I was doing the dishes.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad match to have.
I have a little phone stand in front of the, like, on my worktop near where the sink is.
It's like we live in the same house.
And just go.
Definitely, that's what I do. I've got a phone stand in front of the sink.
Can I just right? obviously, I know normally when you do, obviously when like me and JC were doing the 97 stuff, or through when we were doing the 2000s, I don't know if we ever actually did it or not, but we kind of rated pay-per-views out of 10. I don't want to do that with the Royal Rumbles because it seems a bit. I don't know how you guys want to do it. If we've even thought about it, we should have talked about this beforehand. Really.
Do you know what? I'm open to giving each match a rating out of 10.
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to.
I did mention that we should do a tier list.
Yeah.
In the sense of, right, okay, so this is the first one, so this is number one, just because it's the first one. So next show, we will, if the 1989 Rumble is better, it goes above 88, and that's the list. And then when we do 90, if it's better than 88, it goes under 89. And if it's better than 89, it goes to the top, and so on and so on. So we start from the bottom and we work our way up like this to get a definitive list. So that's my suggestion. I mean, obviously it's the first episode, so it goes wherever default. So
yeah, right now we're number one.
We're number one. I don't know if you want to do things like MVP of the match or the right winner, something like that.
Yeah, well, we can just
for this one.
We can just talk about that as we do the episode, as we have done. I mean, anybody who's watched this episode will know Jake the Snake was the MVP. Jake the Snake should have won it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Bret second place MVP.
Yeah,
Bret
Bret
mainly for his working boots rather than doing anything.
I was going to say he had the ring general position in that match. Bret had to be in there to make sure there was someone in there at all times who could be trusted, and that was Bret for me.
Yeah. So we're resounding unanimous decision there that the MVP of the match was Jake, and the winner, whilst he was fine, the winner should have been Jake.
Jake as well, yeah.
Because I like that actually, because like we can get to Rumbles in the future where we may agree that the right person won the match. So that's interesting. And as default, this is the best Rumble of all time.
Yes. Top of the list, baby. This
Beautiful.
is the top Rumble.
Beautiful.
I'll have to do a little list now. Put a graphic on. What's that, King? Sorry.
This is the best Rumble that we've, as a group, have talked about.
On camera.
Out of all the Rumbles that we've done on this show, this is definitely the first one.
Yep.
No,
Number one,
love
baby.
that. Love that. Love it.
I've just got images of Keegan then when you was doing that. Love it. I would love it.
I would love it if we beat them. Love it.
if this stays at number one till the very end, I'd love it.
It won't. Spoilers.
Nah, definitely not. But so gentlemen, obviously we have got 89 next. Can I just point out as well? I mean, obviously, for me, Jake is an out-and-out heel. I loved him in the Rumble, but it took me back a second hearing him get cheered like that. Because for me, Snake is like Jake's the ultimate bad guy. Whenever I think of him, it's always a heel, and it did kind of
because his run in WWE pretty much up until he started feuding with Savage, he was a babyface.
Yeah.
Like the entire time, one of the most over baby faces, and it wasn't until Savage came back and did the marriage angle with Liz that they turned Jake and started going, hang on a minute, we could make some serious money with this dude as a heel.
Well, I actually agree with you, Nick. It's like the first time I ever saw Jake was he was a heel, because I've got Survivor Series 91 on VHS, and I used to watch that all the time when I was a kid. So that was the snake bite angle. So I always knew Jake in his big jumper and his bin bag trousers, being a big old baddie. So when I heard in the years since Jake was a huge baby face, I was like, this is really weird.
It works both ways. Don't get me wrong, the guy's just awesome. But yeah, I have been programmed from when I first started for him as a heel. So yeah, it kind of just took me by surprise when they cheered him. And spoiler alert, he gets the same reaction in '89. It's amazing.
It's mad because even though my first like my first memory of wrestling is WrestleMania 8.
And his phones it in against Taker.
I have probably watched all the wrestling, but that's the one that sticks with me as my first memory. So yeah, my first memory of Jake should be Jake as a heel, but it's not. I don't know why. I'll always just see Jake as a babyface.
Interesting, isn't it? Very interesting.
Anyway,
But that's what's going to be cool.
Good.
I think. Well, that's what's going to be good about this series, though, as we progress, is just like the memories. Of people that we grew up watching, and be like, some of these rumbles I haven't rewatched in a long, long time. So it was genuinely like, oh shit, 93, 94. I think that's why I like 93 so much, because I just rewatched it recently. And I was like, it just popped me. And obviously, we'll go into detail on that episode, but I was just like, it felt just important. Like I said, it's the first one with a stake.
He's lying.
Everybody was just, oh.
Bobby, he's lying. I know exactly why you love 93 so much. It's Max Moon.
Planting the seeds. Yeah. Finally get Bobby on side.
Nick is the biggest Max Moon fan I've ever met.
You wanna talk about bad commentators in Rumble matches? You just wait till 93 and Gorilla Monsoon turns up. Jesus Christ! But we're getting ahead of ourselves. I really enjoyed this episode.
It's good, man. So, but yeah, let people know. We will go on my screen. Bobby is the top right, so we'll start with him. Where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me on Twitter at the Bobby Cash. You can find me on Instagram, Bobby J Cash, and you can actually find my new personal podcast, The Bobby Cash Show, which is on Spotify now. It's not a wrestling related podcast. It's just a general life podcast.
That sounds pull that, Bob. When are you going to get me on it?
You can come on it whenever you want, my friend. We can talk about anything you want.
There you go. Open invite.
Well, thank you. Yes, the Bobby Cash Show. We've only had one proper episode so far, where I sit and talk about being a parent, which we are all parents, are we not?
Parent episode number 2 at some point. We'll get us all on and talk about being wrestling dads.
Great.
Hey, mate.
Mr. King, where can people hit you up?
You can hit me up on the socials, on the Twitter and the Instagram and the Facebook, and that is DJ King 1268. Yeah, and you can also find out all things Infamous at Infamous Pro on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook and all those social media places. And if you really want to find me, I'm at home most of the time. Have fun. Have a brew.
I just want to shout out as well, massive Infamous thing. I believe Mr. Ian Skinner announced his tag team partner today.
Saying it now, February 1st, you're going to see the best tag team match this year. We have Act 2 going up against the reuniting Skinner and Vice tag team specialists. Mate, if you've not seen Skinner and Vice teaming together, then you are definitely in for a treat with this one, because they can go. Like, Skinner, cool guy, lots of friends. Vice is the original friend. He is the one who basically helped put Skinner on the map. And yeah, this is a for me. I might be being a little bit grandiose because it's a high company, but this is a tag team dream match for modern UK wrestling. It's a tag team match. Anyone who's seen Skinner and Vice before, you're probably not going to get that again. Obviously, with Skinner leaving Scotland, coming down here, it's difficult for those two to team together. We're making it happen because this is going to be one of the best tag team matches of the year. I'm saying it right now.
Love it.
Cool.
I love that. Nick, where can we find you?
On Eventbrite, February 1st, you could be there.
I won't. I'll be at True Grit in York on February the 1st.
Yeah.
So I won't be there. Sorry.
True Grit trying to steal my commentators for that show. I know your game. You
JC.
leave sexy Irishman alone. He's mine. And then you Ben Cecil as a favour.
He or JC, man, no business. JC's coming after everyone.
Yeah, JC trying to steal my commentator team. I'm not having that. No. You can borrow them when we're not running on the same day, JC. I promise.
Cheap plug. If you really like Rumbles, True Grit Wrestling, I've got the True Grit Rumble this coming Saturday, which is January the 11th, at the Left Bank in Leeds. Limited tickets are available. So if you want to see me ring announce a Rumble, which I'm pretty good at that, if you want to watch yourself a Royal Rumble, we've got one.
Oh, yes.
There's Rumbles in January/February.
It's almost like you have to do it in January/February.
Then,
I know what you just said there, King, that you won't be there, but you should be.
To be, but JC hasn't booked me for this one. And that's probably because the last time he booked me, I ended up having surgery on the same day, so I couldn't make it. Reliability. Who knew?
Nick, where can the people follow you?
Oh, I'm not used to people asking me that question at the end of it. You can obviously find us on Twitter or X at WTLS420. That is myself. Or you can find us on Instagram. You can hit my boy Ash up at WTLS316. And on Facebook as well. And obviously YouTube, just search for Work for the Left Side. You do want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, not purely just for this amazing series as well. Obviously you want to subscribe to look at the awesomeness of Bobby Cash and DJ King. But hopefully in a day or two, we will have the full match, the first ever encounter of Spike Trevay versus Mark Andrews from Tidal on the channel.
Very cool. Very cool. Love it. Right,
gentlemen,
boys.
We'll be back again very, very soon to be royally rumbled.
We will indeed.
1989. Please be better than this one.